Wednesday Season 2 has come out and it's significantly underperformed. It had a major drop-off in viewership when the season's second part was released, and Season 2 was not resonating well with fans. Almost 50% less viewers tuned into Part 2 than they did when Part 1 was released, and that's not the only significant drop. When Wednesday Season 1 came out, it was an immediate smash hit, becoming Netflix's #1 English language show, taking over the world with various TikToks and memes, and viewership for Season 1 grew in its second week, where Season 2 slid significantly in its second week, and it's not generating any cultural buzz. Now, any show would kill to have the viewership that Wednesday has, but for Netflix, Wednesday is supposed to be their new flagship show. It's supposed to be their brand. And Netflix is probably wondering, why did this happen? Why is Wednesday Season 2 not performing well or taking over TikTok like the first season did? It did have decent reviews, and yet people are still not showing up. And that's because Wednesday had a significant creative strategy change when it came to Season 2. Their strategy wasn't to build a good season of Wednesday. Instead, their strategy was to build out a universe where they don't have to rely on Wednesday anymore, and that's what hurt them. And Netflix has done this before with their past shows, and they clearly did not learn from it. So I wanted to break down what creative strategy change Wednesday Season 2 made, why they did it, and how they've done this before. But before we get into all of that, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do deep dives on the film and TV industry and break down news and trends, so if you're into any of that, please subscribe. Thank you so much, but let's get into it. When Season 1 came out, Jenna Ortega took the show by force, commanding the screen as the titular character in nearly every single scene. And in Season 2, they decided to change that by focusing more and more on the other characters in the show. And they didn't do this to create a good show. They did this because Netflix got greedy and they want to expand the show into a multi-show universe without relying on Jenna Ortega. Season 2 of Wednesday had multiple storylines in every episode, focusing solely on the side characters instead of Wednesday, like with Enid exploring her werewolf side and her relationship with Bruno, or Pugsley becoming a series regular and teaming up with Eugene and Ajax, or bringing in Morticia and Gomez as full-time characters. Season 1 did have multiple storylines as well, but Wednesday was always front and center of those storylines, driving them, and rarely did the show not have her in every single scene. Where Season 2, there were multiple scenes and storylines without her. They were still relevant to the overall season, but Wednesday was not pushing these storylines forward like she did in Season 1. Season 1 worked so well because Wednesday drove every single scene and plotline, but Season 2 had the side characters lead their own stories. So why did they change things up? Why did they decide to focus so much on these other characters when Wednesday worked so well in Season 1? Well, I believe it was a calculated business decision from Netflix in an effort to expand the Wednesday brand without Wednesday. Jenna Ortega is a massive actress, and because of that, her schedule is quite busy, being the star of several other films like Scream, Beetlejuice, and Death of a Unicorn, all in between one single season of Wednesday. Because of this, she is very in demand, costs quite a bit, and I'm sure her schedule is likely delaying future seasons, not allowing this show to become the juggernaut that Netflix wants. Netflix likely made the call to put the spotlight on other characters this season, so that these characters can potentially headline new spin-offs, so that way they can continue the universe of Wednesday without the need for Jenna Ortega, who is very expensive and very busy. It's already been reported that a Fester spin-off is in the works, and in Season 2, Fester returns and his storyline showcases the exact problem with Season 2. In Season 1, Fester worked with Wednesday, sharing the screen with her, being a fun foil with her, while in Season 2, his goal is still to ultimately help Wednesday, but instead he is isolated in an asylum, allowing Fester to dominate his own scenes. This is clearly to prep audience members to watch Fester so that when a spin-off does come out, audiences will gladly return to see more of him. And this is not the only spin-off they're planning. In July of 2025, it was reported that a secret spin-off of Wednesday was in the works, and while no other information was given about this spin-off, that definitely signals why they decided to sideline the character of Wednesday and instead focus on the side characters. Wednesday upping Pugsley to a series regular and having him be paired up with Eugene was no mistake. They likely made this decision to focus on smaller actors so that if they resonate with audiences, they can create a spin-off focusing solely on Pugsley, who is not an in-demand actor like Jenna Ortega, so that way they can create a new show that doesn't require Jenna Ortega and will help bridge the gap in between seasons of Wednesday. You could very easily create a spin-off where Pugsley and Eugene come back to Nevermore for a summer school class, and that show could explore the brand and world that Wednesday created, all while not using the character of Wednesday, similar to how Gen V was created in the universe of The Boys. Same thing with Morticia and Gomez. They were nothing but guest stars in season 1, and now both of them were suddenly upgraded to series regulars. They could easily create a full spin-off with Morticia and Gomez, since Catherine Zeta-Jones and Luis Guzman have immense star power and people would likely watch an entire season just with them, or they could have a spin-off where we watch a younger version of them and it could be about them falling in love at Nevermore. In season 2, there's quite a bit of friction between Morticia and the newly introduced Grandmama, and my guess is they did this specifically with a spin-off in mind, to have a show about a young Morticia and Gomez and how that friction with Grandmama came to be, and also to build upon the character of Ophelia, which Wednesday teased at the end of season 2. Netflix wants to spin off Wednesday into several other avenues, and to do this, they need more than just Jenna Ortega, which is why season 2 focused so much on other characters driving the plot, rather than just Wednesday. And by doing this, they directly hurt season 2, focusing less on Wednesday, which is what everyone fell in love with the first season. And instead, they tried to expand their universe, repeating the exact same mistakes that Netflix made when Stranger Things Season 2 came out. Take us back to October 2017 when Netflix debuted Stranger Things Season 2. Season 2 drew in bigger numbers than Season 1, but they had one huge black eye on Season 2 with Episode 7, The Lost Sister. This episode is widely seen as the worst episode of Stranger Things, and this episode was created solely with a spin-off in mind. Netflix wanted to spin off Stranger Things into multiple series, and The Lost Sister was supposed to start this, but everyone hated it so much that it stopped any spin-off from happening. Netflix wanted to quickly expand, and in doing so, they created something that hurt Stranger Things, and they're doing the exact same thing to Wednesday. Now look, I get it, Wednesday is one of their biggest shows, and they wanted to deliver more of it to their audience and fuel their streamer. But because of Jenna Ortega's stardom, which is no fault to her, they were not able to do this, but they could have done so in a way to not hurt the show that people fell in love with. But they did not do that, and because of this, their viewership dropped and their audience ultimately didn't care that much about Season 2, and that could also hurt Season 3 when that comes out in 2027. Now, is this the only reason why Wednesday Season 2 had less viewers and Season 2 had a significant drop when Part 2 was released? No. There are multiple cascading elements to this whole thing. You can easily blame their release schedule. Having a Part 1 and Part 2 does not always work, and it can hurt their shows. This is something that Netflix is experimenting with, and sometimes it does work, like with Stranger Things Season 4 or Bridgerton, but sometimes it does hurt viewership, like The Witcher. However, you can also make the argument that if the show was actually good and reflected the quality of Season 1, then people would have massively returned when Part 2 dropped. Or you can make the case that they shouldn't have split it at all and release it all at once, and even though it was a lower quality season, the show could have still matched Season 1's numbers because people didn't get a break after a lesser quality season and they just pushed on till the very end of Season 2. There's also a case of having a huge gap in between seasons, and a lot of the Wednesday hype has since died down and people just simply didn't care. Especially since the show is largely targeted at teenagers, and some of those original teens may not have been teens anymore when Season 2 came out. The quality dip could also be because their initial plans had to be changed for Season 1 since the allegations of the actor who played Xavier came out and they had to write him out, throwing a wrench into their original plan. There are many reasons why Wednesday Season 2 failed, but I do believe the biggest one is sidelining Wednesday in hopes to get audiences ready for a spin-off. The show works best with Wednesday front and center, collaborating with these other characters, and in Season 3, I hope they realize this and go back to their original formula for Season 1. The show is called Wednesday after all. Not Pugsley, not Axel, not Enid, but Wednesday. What did you think of Season 2 of Wednesday? Did you enjoy it? Personally, I enjoyed Part 2 more than I enjoyed Part 1, but I definitely understand why people didn't return, because I almost didn't return. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. And please don't forget to like this video as well. I hate asking, but it does help push it out into the algorithm and find more people like yourself. And please subscribe too. If you do, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.